Snowden Sr. has given his first interview since arriving in Moscow this morning. He will now try to reunite with his son, who's been at an undisclosed location here in Russia. And RT's Igor Piskunov is at Sheremetyevo Airport for us, where Lon Snowden just landed. Hi there, Igor. So you have spoken to Mr. Snowden Sr. and what's your impression about him? What did he have to say?
Well, despite the fact that Mr. Snowden just stepped off a transatlantic flight from New York to Moscow, which lasts over 8 hours, he still found the strength in him, despite the jet lag and all that, to meet with the journalists. And well, there were lots of questions, obviously, since we haven't even heard about Edward Snowden, his son, for a few months now. Now, his father says that he isn't sure whether or not he's going to be able to meet him, but he does hope so. He also said that he isn't sure whether or not Edward Snowden will ever be able to come back to the United States, but he stressed that that's going to be strictly his decision. And he also talked about the fact, the latest allegations coming from Edward Snowden, saying that in fact they came from the media after he passed them over to journalists, commenting on the Russian president's conditions, which he voiced in midsummer when the whole question of providing temporary asylum to Mr. Snowden was being discussed. And back then Vladimir Putin said that Snowden could stay in Russia if he wanted, but then he'd have to stop harming the image of the US. I also managed to ask Edward Snowden's father a question. I asked him what's he planning to do today. This is his first day in Russia. Let's listen to what he had to answer.
Well, I certainly believe in justice and in the importance and the rights that are afforded by our Constitution. But the fact is, many of the questions you're asking, it's best left to Mr. Kucherena, who represents my son in Russia, and my son. And if at some point in the future they choose to have a press conference with the appropriate people present, then so be it. I cannot speak for my son and really the legal issues. I'm his father, and I don't want to really share my opinions at this point in time. I'm simply thankful that my son is safe and free.
Edward Snowden's father is being accompanied by Anatoly Kucherena. This is the lawyer who's been pretty much advising Edward Snowden, and he's been his basically representative ever since he arrived to the transit zone of Sheremetyevo Airport in June. And while his father is saying that he's currently fully leaning on Mr. Kucherena when it comes to his stay here, he also said that he is considering himself as his guest. So I guess currently it depends really not on Snowden's father, but on the conditions for whether or not he is going to meet with his son.
All right, RT's Igor Piskunov live there at Moscow's Sheremetyevo Airport with more on the developing story about the arrival of Edward Snowden's father here in Moscow. Igor, thank you very much indeed. And of course, we'll be speaking to you later on again because it's a developing once again story and we're closely following. Thank you.